I also have a unique story, right? I joined this church 7 years ago, 2015. I was fresh out of campus. Actually, I did not join the church. So what happened was, pastor needed something to do with my campus, so he reached out to somebody, who reached out to somebody, who reached out to me. So I came to Lagos. I traveled down to Lagos to come see him and help him out with, because I had the information that he needed. And at the end of that conversation, I think I was about stepping out of the office, and then he asked me, so what do you do currently? As at that time, I was still on campus, so I was supposed to have gone to serve. My mates had gone to serve, but I attended OSU, right? So they delayed me, my courses. They said that 5 courses were missing. I needed to come and rewrite, carry over, whatever. And long story short, we had sorted it out, but I couldn't go to serve anymore with that set, so I had to wait. So I was free. And I said, well, I'm free. I'm just back there in campus, being a music director and all. And then he said, okay, would you like to be my PA? And then right there on the spot, he told me what the salary was. And for someone that wasn't used to any money, that was like, okay. So I was like, okay, can I have some time to think about it? Because obviously I didn't come here for a job interview. Like, I came to give information, and then I'm getting a job in return. So I went back and I thought about it. I also prayed about it because, and then I came. Remember my first Sunday, I didn't even stand up for the first time. I just sat down, and I just came to observe, right? And long story, fast forward, I started out as Dr. Chris's PA. And those years of working closely with him made me really see, or should I say, it made me see pastor's heart. Away from, as the honest truth is, what you see on the pulpit does not cut it, because he doesn't have the time. It made me really see how giving pastor is to people's development, how much of a heart if pastor has the capacity, he would carry everybody to where they want to be, if he has, at the detriment of his own personal self. And that period, I thought I was working for him. However, some things were being developed in me also, spiritually and in career-wise. So I'm switching to career now. It was while working with him that I don't even know who first mentioned it, but it was mentioned that, look, I think this guy has, because I picked up church social media, then, or maybe pastor's personal social media, so I was working with him. And then the church movers and shakers felt like, look, I think this guy can really do this thing. So my role then transitioned into being church social media person. And I remember Pastor Fumi of blessed memory, the first course I ever did, it was her course. Like, she paid for it and she was doing it. And then she just walked up to me and said, like, yeah, watch social media now. Like, okay. So she gave me the login details. It was a short academic course then and what have you. And so I also, and that's, the knowledge I got there. So it opened that was the first thing that opened my mind to, look, I think you need to start going for learning. Then Dr. Chris started speaking a lot about learning, just basically learning, adding new stuff and all that. From where I started, because honestly, I didn't know what to do with my life. I knew God had a plan, but I didn't know what that plan was. I just knew I didn't want to be an accountant, right? And I passed well, but I didn't want to be that. Moving into what I do currently, my role has transitioned and transitioned and transitioned. However, like Mama Rita said when she was here, everything that I do, everything that earns me money, the little streams, right, that come together, everything has been something that was developed here. Music, for me, I mean, yes, I knew about music a little, however, but staying here, because I could have just been a church worker. I mean, I was just a staff. That was the mentality I came in with. It was a Wednesday services, the way it would go, I'd just be like, so I just started going. I didn't even join the choir. I'll just pick up the mic and back up. I never saw myself being music director here, ever, at any point. And moving on to late last 2 years, I went through breakfast. I served it, but I ate it too, right? And then Reverend Su called me one, because I didn't tell people. I think the only person that maybe knew in this church was Pastor Uche and maybe Mama Rita and Victor. But Reverend Sugome was here, he was teaching, and he just called me out, and then he started prophesying, saying, what you have lost, God will this, and I was that day, I was like, okay. Where's all this coming from? Long story short, right, in the process of serving hype, I didn't even talk about hype. There's too much, but I'll leave that. In the process of serving, right, so it turned out that God decided that I had to have a slice of this church living in my house, right? So I knew my wife, but she was not my wife, and then she became my wife. And I mean, everything good about my life right now, family, the closest people to me in my life right now are in this church. And I just want to give God praise that Pastor Chris actually heard God from the... I don't know if he knew what he was doing then, but I just want to thank God that everything worked together for good.
Come on, put your hands together for Jesus.
We welcome you to the